some breaking news this afternoon. The head of service that came on board for FCT that came on board in October last year, an indigenous of the state of the Federal Capital Territory, died early hours of this morning. What a shocking news. I mean, they said he last appeared on a security meeting that he represented the FCT minister on Thursday, and they said she died this morning. Philip?
Yeah, you know, we have living corpses all over the country because of the nature of the economy. Even though this is an elite, high-profile person, but nobody is spared like we usually say. Everybody is a victim, like J.P. Clark will say. He said when he wrote his poem, The Casualty, that both the dead, the living were all casualty. Whether you are in the federal side, you are in the Biafra side, we are all casualty. The last we heard of her was yesterday. She was in church service, she made some donations and all of that. And she slept this morning, and what is the story? She's on the other side of the world. So that tells us that, look, this world belongs to no man, and it's an empty world. She was celebrated as the first female head of service of the Federal Capital Territory when the head of the Service Commission was created.
Yeah.
And here we are. She's no more. And you know what that means? So it tells people who are in power that, look, power is transient. Even life itself is transient. Because you are not the owner of your own life. You are not in control of life. The one that controls life can ask of it from you at any point in time. As we've seen in the Bible, that rich man who said, I've done so much, I've owned so much, my soul relax and enjoy. And the Bible said, and God said to him, tonight,
you don't own your life.
I have a need of your soul. You can liken the death of the HOS as to that rich man. She has started the civil service maybe as a career civil servant, maybe with level 9 today. Before this hour, she was in charge of the civil service of the Federal Capital Territory. And like, she's relaxed. She went to church, made donation and all of that. And it doesn't matter whether you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are an African religious believer, or what have you. What matters is that we are all answerable to God. And when God wants us back, is going to ask us to come back home.
I took notice of the African religion you call, because I know you don't.
Yeah, it's African religion, because when you said pagan or tradition, no, it's African religion. Until we come to, to tell with that fact that, look, Africa has their own religion before the advent of the white man who had turned us to be, Christian or Muslim. We still have our own indigenous religion, and it's known as African religion. You could call it a pagan, you can call it juju, whatever you call it. To me, I'm an African, and I know Africa has a religion. Thank God we've seen the world, we've gone around the world, we've seen what happened in Asia, what happened in Europe, what happened in America. They still have their own private religion. So for me, it's African religion.
All right. Well, African religion, Grace Adayilo, head of service, FCT, appointed by the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, just passed away. Sad moment for the family, sad moment for all the BRGIE people in FCT, sad moment for the FCT government, sad moment for everybody. It's such a pity.
Yeah, somebody's mother just passed, sister, daughter, probably a parent. I just read that. I saw a funny place in eternity. That shows that he said earlier, we don't own life. Sometimes we act as if we have control of this, of our very existence. And those in power that you want to acquire all the money you could, you don't leave legacy. She's done her race, she'll be gone. What will she be remembered for? I didn't work with her, I don't know her very closely. But those that I know her very closely, I hope she have a legacy she'll be remembered for. That's what I will tell most people. Once God has given you the opportunity to serve humanity, serve. Let people remember when you are gone, when you are out of that office. Let it not be that you are the one when you are gone, people will celebrate that you've left because you were not, you are unable to develop any human there. Under your leadership, things went bad, and you were a terror to your subordinates. You shouldn't be that kind of person. every opportunity given to you by God is for you to serve humanity. My hope is that she did that. And if she did do that, Prosperity will always remember her for what she did while she is in service. And talking about pagan and African religion, we saw when this president, King of England, was coronated. See, every country have their culture. I don't know why we've allowed white men to call us paganism. They say we're practicing, I don't know if they're writing this, like we are pagan because we are practicing our culture. It wasn't the same way people that brought a ram, dragging up and down, say they're doing coronating a king. Why for it now? We'll condemn it. See, we should uphold our culture. We should not allow this whitish mentality rule us. They have forced some of this, their whitish thinking into Christianity. See, in Bible, I'm coming.
No, I'm going to stop you there because we I don't want us to go into that too much because we have other breaking news. We wish Grace Adayilo eternal rest with her maker, and we hope she finds rest wherever she is right now. A great loss to the BRGIE people, a great loss to the FCT, a great loss to the country Nigeria. That's the first time we are having not just only a female. That position was created as head of service, and now she's gone. Big condolence to her family. All right, in other breaking news, the self-acclaimed Prime Minister of Biafra Government in exile, Mr. Simon Ekpa, has been found guilty of terrorism by the Finnish courts. I mean, it's been long-standing. Now, there are a lot of things we don't know. First of all, let's talk about Simon Ekpa. I mean, it's been made to think that all the ECN that we have all around, the unknown gunmen, you know, he's behind most of these things. Now, are we going to see an end to most of these things?
You see, when a monster is created, you know a monster, it doesn't bomb, but it multiplies. Whether Simon Ekpa has been arrested, tried and found guilty and convicted and sentenced, that seed of discord has been sown by him. That monster has been created by him. So you have a lot of Simon Ekpa everywhere in the East and even in diaspora who are funding, who believe in that ideology he has sold to them. You know, finding him guilty and being sentenced by the Finnish government, I think we should give kudos to the sitting government. Unlike the Buhari government who went and bundled, you know, Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya. I think they followed due process. He was arrested and the government, with government support, he went through trial and he has been found guilty and be convicted and sentenced. The question now is he going to serve the jail term in Finnish, or is he going to be extradited to Nigeria to serve his jail term?
Okay, I want to come to that on you.
Yeah.
Now, Simon Ekpa, I mean, you know some little things about him, about activities or accusations that he's been accused of. He was said to have failed the ECN. He was said to have supported APC. Well, I mean, a lot of things trailing him. How do we see all this?
You know, to me, it's a good news for everybody that's from the eastern region of the country. It is a big news, big good news. I'm glad about that. People don't know the importance of this arrest. Now, they've lost a focal point. Then he could sit in his comfort in Finland and issue directives. Don't go out on this day. Don't go for voting. I just came back from over. Now, I walked around on Monday. It looks as if nothing happens. Normalcy has begun to return. It might not be as immediate as people want, but it's going to be because there is no... there's not longer a spokesperson, one person that speaks, everybody responds to. So they've lost that. Yeah, they're going to be a splinter group, but they're not going to be as formidable as they were when he was there. He could, from there, call 1 or 2 persons, enforce this. Now, that figure is gone. And like I said off camera, I wish they could extradite him back to Nigeria. He's going to enjoy a prison. I want to enjoy cozy prison.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop you there because I want to come back to Philip. Now, Philip, what the Nigerian government wanted, especially I think I heard the chief of general staff, Christopher Musa, talked about it when he was arrested, was that they are working on his extradition. They wanted to try him in Nigerian land with Nigerian terrorism acts and laws, but we saw the Finnish government, because I think he's a citizen, he was not, and now the Finnish court went ahead to try him. Now they found him guilty. If they wanted to extradite him, they should have at the point of arrest, which the Nigerian government wanted at that particular time. Do you think they're going to do that now?
I don't think it's over yet, because what is the act he committed that he was tried for? Terrorism. The terrorist was against whose land? It was against Nigerian land. Like he said, it's particularly in the eastern region. It has caused a lot of damages and destruction to the eastern region. That he no longer knew that he sits and enjoy the comfort of his home in Finland and issue order to some miscreant, and they destroy lives and properties. But now, the Finland has found him guilty of terrorism against public interest, internet terrorism. And don't forget, in that trial, I'm very convinced that Nigeria was the focal point, because where is the offense committed against? So if it is Nigeria, then you have found him guilty. It's equal if you say it's a Finnish citizen. It was first a Nigerian citizen before he acquired the Finnish, the Finland's citizenship. So Nigeria, under the international laws, Nigeria has right to apply for his extradition, and the Finland government has the obligation to release him to Nigeria to face his trial here. Because if you have tried him and you find that you agreed with the allegation that he committed this offense against Nigerian land and citizen, so it is proper for you to be tried under the Nigerian law of terrorism.
But they went ahead and tried him and jailed him based on Finnish laws.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The Finnish law, I might not be conversant with it, but it's not going to be unrelated to Nigerian law as supposed international law. Yes. So if the Nigerian government, they were the first to accuse him before you that this man that is in your country is committing, this kind of criminal act against my land and my people, and based on that you arrested him and you tried him and you found him wanting and you convict him, so it is proper for you to release him to come and face his trial too in Nigeria. You under the international law, if you commit crime against two countries, you are both of them could try you, and it is based on their relationship. You will eventually serve the.
I equally think that it's not just Nigeria. I think Adayilo wrote a Finnish government complaining of their citizen activities in Nigeria. A lot of well-thinking people did. A lot of people wanted this rubbish to come to an end. They got so embarrassing that when he was on trial, even claimed what he was doing was skit acting. He was a skit maker. He wasn't even convinced in what he was doing, destroying lives and properties. You know how many lives were destroying in the service? You know how many properties? You know how many businesses that were ended because of stupidity? And he went on air to say he was purely making skits.
But we saw a lot of extradition that between, for example, Nigeria and the United States, Nigeria and Canada, Nigeria and the United Kingdom, where offenses come, especially when it comes to cybercrime. Of course, they were not terrorist act, but cybercrime. Now, you should have thought Finland, that is a part of the European Union, should have adhered to Nigerians' request to extradite him.
I think you cannot say they have not obliged Nigeria. I think there's a process.
It's a process,
I think the first step has been taken and be concluded. The next step is for the Nigerian government to say, look, You have found this man guilty, like when you said Udi Igbo, he also wrote. Udi Igbo is part of Nigeria. They don't stand on their own. So we take it as a whole. Nigeria wrote to them, and there were evidence that it was based on Nigerian complaint that he was arrested and he was tried. So now that you have tried him and you found reason for and then you are convinced that what the Nigerian government accused the man for, the man is actually guilty of it. The proper thing to do is to release him to the Nigerian government to deal with him according to their law, local law. I think that's what is going to happen.
Do you think that this is a welcome development in the eastern part of the country?
I think it should be celebrated.
Why is it not the same thing with that of Nnamdi Kanu?
The Nnamdi Kanu case is different. He said he's a freedom fighter, and he has not been convicted by any court in Nigeria. Usually he's been freed. Dragon just keeping him. This is a different thing entirely. When he was in incarceration, even when he was living in Iran, this was the person that was constantly calling for boycott of elections. Do you know what he did in the last elections? He threatened Igbos from voting. Then you come out on the election day to vote, mayhem before you. You know that could have caused voter apathy. So he has done so much havoc. For me, he should not serve his time in Finnish prison. That prison is too cozy. Let him come to Nigerian prison. Let me come and face our Nigerian warders. Let me come and eat our Nigerian beef.
But a lot of Indivo people still stand behind Nnamdi Kanu, and they've been calling for his release. In fact, the Enugu governor said the other day that when he met with Tinubu the first time, the first subject on discussion was Nnamdi Kanu. But this man worked in accordance in tandem with Nnamdi Kanu.
At a point, I will tell you, there was a divergent view that this is a splinter group of Nnamdi Kanu's group. So
but is that what was it?
It could be, because while he was even on the run, he was not calling for violence when this man was calling for it. Even when he was in UK.
Okay, that's Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes. He was not calling for violence as this man was calling for. So these are two different cases. And Nnamdi Kanu has not been convicted. So that's why they're asking for him to be released. Since every court have tried him, they couldn't pin him down to the cases brought against him. It should be released. It should probably keep under watch. But this his case has been concluded and decided. We saw Nnamdi Kanu's utterances during that period when he insulted people. He said things that were anti-Nigerian existence, and so many of the things. You don't think that those are words of secession? This very government have taken him to court, and they couldn't prove it. So why keep him? That is the question. Since you've taken him to court, I'm not here holding brief for him. Since you've taken him to court, and you are unable to justify your claims, to at least get the law to act on it, even some of the judges have even acquitted him of most of the charges against him. So what most governors are asking for, since you are unable to convict him, why are you still keeping him?
Philip, do you think, for example, if someone like Nnamdi Kanu was arrested abroad, maybe probably in Germany, in the United Kingdom or United States, do you think he would have been convicted this fast?
You see, the question is, can you pin down the fact that Nnamdi Kanu was the cause of mayhem and terrorist act in the East?
Because of the things he said.
Yes. So if you cannot pin him down, then because there's no difference between London, Germany, and Kenya.
Yeah.
So why kidnapping him from Kenya and bundle him to Nigeria? Why not? And if accuse him to the Kenyan government, let them arrest him and try him, and whatever the case may be. You see, in the case of Simeon Ekpa, it is very clear the man is a terror. The evidence are there. They are glaring. Now the Kanu is only calling for secession of the Biafran people, and he has been vehement on it. Yes.
But he talked about killing people.
Yes, that's what I said. He has been vehement on it. He talked about killing people, but he has never ordered people to kill people that you can, pin him down for. But in this case of Simon Ekpa, they are clear evidence. There are so many evidence of people he had ordered to be killed and property destroyed. For instance, the 2023 general election, where he said if you come out on election day, you may have before you. It was clear that these things were actually carried out in some part of the eastern region, but you cannot pin any of this kind of thing to other than the fact that he said, give us our Biafra country, or we'll do this or we'll do that. He never took steps to be violent.
That if he was that violent, the Nigerian government would have applied for British government to arrest him and try him. So they never had any tangible case against him. That's why they were unable to apply for him. He was in Britain, he wasn't hiding.
But he has, you see, these are words of secession.
No, he didn't hide that. He wants Biafra to be
see,
for Nigeria.
In a way,
he never hid that.
So
it's not in dispute what he wanted.
So if you talk about,
he did not go ahead to incite violence to the point that to cause harm. If he had, Nigerian government would have applied to British court for his restraint.
Philip, I know you know a lot of things that has to do with limits, rights, obligations, values, and all that. In the case of Nnamdi Kanu, he asked for secession, or he asked that the eastern part of the country should succeed. Now, in secession, we know the routes that we take, either a plebiscite or a referendum. I mean, but no, he wasn't advocating for this kind of process.
No, he was.
No, hold
on.
You see, the thing is this: in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, you know there was a civil war, and Biafra kind of existed at some point. And if you look at the international law and globally and human rights law, any country who had fought a civil war and any part of the country who had asked for their own country to be separated from a country and they fought a civil war and they were unable, the law gives a period of time. What now the kind of say that this period has elapsed, so we allow us to go because this is what the law says. So he was within the confine of the law. Like he rightly said, there was no way or any way to show that he incited the public, other than to say that, look, the law allows the Biafra to go after, 50 years or so after a civil war, that this we have met the requirement of the law. I think he went to UN and all of that, those bodies that regulate that kind of arrangement. And that's what he was pursuing.
And he called for a referendum. This is renegotiate this.
So, exactly. So he was not, but Steve Ekpa was purely, his own action was purely criminality.
What he did, he was mad.
Against his own people.
But that is, hold on, but that of Steve Ekpa, for example, he didn't call for the kind of revolution with arms. He's not known to have brought in arms to the country.
See, what Ekpa did, when they arrested Nnamdi Kanu, they were like some splitter groups. So what did he do? He played to people's emotion that he's fighting for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So like every other splitter group converged under him. Now, his utterances and his demands were violent in nature. They were like a threat to the state. If you don't listen to the Kanu, this will happen. And from there, somehow, a military arm was formed under the group. There were we call it the enforcers. That the enforcers sit at home on Monday. Even sometimes they did it twice a week. Some market they just announced it. Those people were enforcing that, denying people their freedom of speech, freedom of movement, their right under the Constitution. And they do it with so much impunity. So him or that, it is on record. Yes, it can be proven. He was able to convict, they were able to convict him because they could provide this is the court. They are evident. For him, he denied it, called it his kids making. But you made such utterances. You said this is what happened to you if you vote. You said you go out on Monday, this is what happened to you. So those things were presented before a court. And they don't have these things against Nnamdi Kanu.
Now, was it proven that he supplied arms to the unknown gunmen? Are they proven secrets of those kind of dealings?
Well, I'm not privy to the court judgment or the evidence presented before the court, but it was clear that Nyesom Wike had a militant, a section of the ECN which enforces sit at home and all of that, and the sit at home that were those who were enforcing the sit at home, they were using arms and ammunition. Where do they get there from? If he, even though I wasn't privy to evidence presented before the court, if he is the head and the one instructing them to carry out that instruction and the one funding them, whatever he's doing, and they are doing it, and these people are caught with arms and ammunition, so you don't need evidence to show that he supplies arms and ammunition to that militant group that was enforcing his rules, his utterances. It shows that he is the one that supplied, whichever way, whether they were procured locally or they were imported, somehow he procured arms and ammunition for his supporters to do the havoc to the society. So he did.
This jailing, do you think is going to water down a lot of things that are happening in the Northeast? It's going to help it to relax?
In the East?
Yes.
Some few days ago, I think last week, I was in Anambra, what they call this place, Munze. It used to be hotbed. Those are those there. Those are airplanes. To date in Anambra, but I was able to go around. I was able to interact with locals. They were like, that thing has died down a little bit. I was in Oka for some days. From Oka, I went to Wori, so I passed through Olu. Those houses were hotbeds. But things are beginning to water down, and things, no matter for me, will still return, because now, as I said earlier, there is no longer a focal point. Nobody gives instruction now. Nobody says don't go and vote. No single voice that controls that militant group. So now things life is beginning to return to normalcy. Do you know what it is not to work on Monday? Do you know economic value that's being wasted? Do you know the businesses? Some of these artisans, they eat on a daily basis. If they work today, they can eat tomorrow.
Philip, lastly, the economy of the southeastern part of this country, somehow, some way, whether you like it or not, has taken a downturn as a result of this sit at home. Do you think they can pick up the way they should have if they were not sitting at home every Monday? And the security situation too. It like what you said, or I don't know, I can't remember. You said you have created a lot of Simeon Ekpas so many places.
Yes, I said so. But the truth remains that, look, he was their focal point. He was their de facto leader. He gives all the instruction. If you notice, since he has been incarcerated and facing his trial, all those activities have been watered down. And with this, the government can, take the advantage and go after the splinter group or those small monsters, arrest them and try them because they are evidence. And don't forget, now that their master has been incarcerated, most of them on their own will step aside because they know the game is up. If their boss has been arrested, tried, and convicted, the man who so assured that nothing will happen, that is the prime minister, is now in jail. So nobody needs to advise them that it could be your turn, and the government will take advantage and go after them hard on and pick as many as they can, throw them in jail. So once that is done, the economy of the eastern region will pick up as usual.
Now, Peter, we know that terrorism, for example, strive on finances, whether it's from home, whether it's from abroad. Do you think the government is going to go out after this, terrorist?
I don't think they should waste their time on it, because already they have been.
But maybe for the Northeast,
what I think government should do in the Southeast, the governor should engage a bit more. Now, should come up and then they understand that businesses should come back on Mondays. They should allow people to run their business on Monday. It's for their own benefit. Because now there is no other opposing voice to counter what they say. Before, if the governor speak, him from Finland will say otherwise. But now, since there is no opposition voice, governors should take advantage of this and reach out to their people.
Don't you think that the Finnish government, the Nigerian government, are going to look into his source of spendings, his income? Or do you think it's one area they should look into?
Of course, it's a convict now, so all money he has, they have to look at how he got there. If they are gotten criminally, they should be converted to either the Finnish government money or Nigerian money. Well, what I think is most of them will be converted to the Finnish government account because it's a criminal. So I like you said, everything needs funding, whether in the legitimate business or illegitimate. Now that the source of funding has been cut off, like I said, since his incarceration, the activity of the militant has died down in his, and this will be worse off by the time his account is frozen and all of that. You know, people can say a criminal is a criminal; he can still operate from the prison, but once his account is frozen and his money, taken over by government, so he will not have access to money to send to his cronies to to commit those crimes. So I think seriously that what has happened is a welcome development, and the government must take advantage of it, especially the governors in the eastern region, and identify those who are his lieutenants and go after them, get them arrested and try them so that their economy can be revived.
All right, we will be looking at how so many things unfold. Most of the time, what the government is supposed to do first, they are bringing it to the last. What they're supposed to do is to look at source of funding, source of supply of arms, whatever it is. Those things are very necessary. That's why we say police is from the front, not from the back. Well, we say adieu to the chief of the FCT head of service. She has come, she has gone. I'm sure she has some memory that she's going to take to heaven. And with that, he has left on this side of heaven, there's some other memories too. We're going to have him fond of. First FCT head of service, first female FCT head of service, first indigenous woman from FCT being head of service. Wow. We'll be right back on News Insight.